Even really a reference point that I want to make as far as like showing you guys something. This is more of a topic that I wanted to talk about on the show that is, just came up. And I was like, you know what, I should talk about this on the show a little more in detail or rather dedicate an entire segment to it. And that's like media of the future and like this sort of where are we going from here? And I have an assumption. It could be wrong. Hopefully it's not. But I look at where we're at now. And when I say media, I'm talking like stuff in the be an entertainment aspect. You can even go as far as the news and all of that. What YouTube? And I think people need to focus less on the company of YouTube, what it is that I'm talking about, and more about what YouTube showed. Okay, and that was that YouTube gave us an outlet to cut the middleman and get some form of media entertainment, something it is that we digest without the corporate sponsorship as far as like it being controlled in that regards. So this is how people just in their bedrooms or whatever, they're shooting videos have become, mega stars, if you will, or have really replaced in the eyes of so many people what was once more corporate entertainment. I do think in the future, and this is why you had like G4 TV. I think G4 TV was an experiment, and it was like, okay, they're from the more corporatized media when again we didn't have a lot of this going on, right? I believe like when G4 was on his way out. Or what was kind of in his heyday was when I had first started my YouTube channel when I was in high school, and they tried to adopt or take that model, and then they tried to apply it to, let's say, the YouTube space that has been dominated by people again like us that have a direct line of sight with our audience, and it's an experiment that Comcast tried to take on because they're like, okay, we can use the nostalgia element and all that to try to enter in their space. So it's like this highly produced version of what we're already doing. And I think that kind of defeats the point because a lot of what people are attracted to with what it is that we do, whether it be in the streaming space or people that just put out videos or whatever forms of entertainment it is that they put out, it's more about it's people being able to connect with the creator. And I think that's the future. And I think you have companies that are going to try to get ahead of that. And this is why so many people are focusing on YouTube, what it is they're doing. Like, again, look at what Comcast is doing with G4, or they're creating their own individual streaming elements and all that because they want in on that because I think they kind of see it. Now, I don't think there's much they could do about it because this entire ordeal is decentralized. Sure, they could take people off of platforms and all of that, but you've seen people adapt and adjust to that anyway. I think the future now is creator-owned stuff or small teams with big ideas. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't going to be collaborations. That doesn't mean it is going to be well-produced stuff. But I think the days of, and if it has something to do with me, I think the days of having to rely upon a mega corporate entity to give you something to be entertained, I think those days are behind us. I think there's people still clinging to those because, and really that's all that they have, is control of what was. And because so many people would be Star Wars, Marvel, DC, all that, people grew up on that stuff. So they have control of that, particularly the authoritarian left. So they can kind of use that as a means to entertain people. And to be fair, a lot of people are going to fall for it. But like, I don't think you're going to end up with as many or I will say this, it'll be a lot more decentralized efforts as opposed to what we had before. I think gone are the days are where someone had an awesome idea, whether it be with a book, whether it be with a series, whether it be with a script, whether it be with some, show idea. I think gone are the days where those people, as they're on the up and coming, end up selling off those assets to a mega corporate entity to basically get a bunch of money in lump sum and then ride off into the sunset. Or having to pitch those ideas to those mega corporate entities in hopes that it will then be adapted. I think gone are those days. Seriously. I think in the future, you're going to see a lot more people that do maybe have the staying power of what you had expected of maybe Marvel and DC in the past. Again, look years down the future, right? They have the staying power, but the person that created it or the group of people that created it will still have control of it. Because a lot of that, like where you deal with like all these people that have really sold off their properties to these mega corporate entities, a lot of that was, okay, we hit a ceiling. Some of it was just, okay, I just want a lot of money. But we hit a ceiling and we need help in order to get that kind of conceptualized and a bit. And yeah, you get royalties, you get all that. But now, because of the power of the internet and technology has continued to grow, people are now able to say, you know what, I don't need that anymore. Right? This is why people are still conditioned, for example, with what we're doing with the comic book industry. One of the top questions that I get is, all right, well, you got to watch out because the publisher may do that. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, we're not dealing with the publisher. I'm the motherfucking publisher. Dealt with that in the music industry as well. Music industry is still trying to adapt to streaming and all that. And you've seen a lot more people than you had in the past that have been able to put their music out and not have to be corporate sponsored, corporate backed, and be able to see a lot of success. My band is an example of that. Okay. And I think that's the future. It's a decentralized version. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be mega big entities like, let's say 10 years from now, that people see as more of the legitimate form of entertainment. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think those efforts are going to be decentralized as opposed to relying upon the alphabet organizations and companies to put that shit out for you guys to then digest. This is an exciting time to be a creator. This is what I think for me. Now, it's not going to be easy because you got to understand a lot of why that is enticing is because, well, you get the promise of getting the money without having to do much. Okay. So all the ins and outs, the big corporate entities have hired people to make sure that stuff happens. Now, if you are doing it yourself or with a small team of people, you got to do all that. But it's doable. You can even from that angle connect with people that you otherwise couldn't because of the power of applications and the internet and being able to connect with people that can help you. Right. It's an exciting time to be a creator. It's an exciting time to be a creator. And I think that this is something that people should embrace and obviously take advantage of if you can, if you are a creator. Now, from the cultural standpoint, I do think that people need to pay more attention to it. Definitely if you're going to win, and stop thinking that, okay, these guys are the only forms of entertainment that are out there, because they're not. There's some good work out there, and we've seen it. We've seen it even over the last, let's say, half decade. So much stuff come up, and it's because, again, we have a direct line of sight with our audience. I look at people like in our spaces that have been able to grow within this short period of time, like Nerdrotic's channel just exploding in the way that he is, to where, Friday Night Tights has 12,000 fucking people watching it at any given time. Like, that's insane. 13,000, like whatever the number is of their highs. I know it was like 12 when me and Memology was on there. Like, that's huge, man. That in itself shows that, look, man, this is something that people want. They don't want to sit up there and have to digest it. And it's just a bunch of guys on a panel in a fucking streaming room. That's my thing. And I love it. It's exciting. It's going to be a lot of folks out there that are going to try to deter you from doing it because they still see these guys as the more legitimate forms. How many people have told fucking me, oh, you'll never compete with a Marvel or DC. I ain't even put shit out. It's just like it just can't be done. Doomers. Fuck them. I think decentralization of media is the future, but it's a good future because you're going to have a lot more creator-owned stuff and a lot of people able to see their vision play out going forward for decades. And that's what I love about it. That's exactly what I love about it. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.